start by doing some work on the spine. We're just reaching up, pulling the head right back. And down. And the next one, just bring the hands up and then out. And now turning the head. Then loose fists and twisting the shoulders and looking behind. And then the hands behind, clasping the hands, straightening the arms, pulling the shoulders back and rotating the head. And rotating the other way. And then clasping the elbows behind the back. And leaning forwards. And then pulling back up by clenching. Then turning to the left knee and down over that. And up. And the right knee. And up. And then just repeating those. So down the middle again. And up. Left. Up. And one more to right. And up. Okay, let's just try some of the reaching. Up first. Leading with the mind. The mind sees the action before the body does it. And reaching forwards. and then some to the side. And the strong twist. So one hand right behind, other hand on the knee, and slowly working yourself around. Then the other side. And the other side again. And the other side. And back to the front. Now let's just try breathing. Feeling the different mood associated with each phase. At the opening, I'm arching my back and something is lifting inside me. And then here, I'm relaxing the back and pulling the belly in, and that's causing something to drop. Feel the natural return. So as you go right into one phase, it forces it to bounce out into the next. So just back into prayer for a sec. Now just a little bit on each of the dantians. First, the lower dantian. So clenching, gripping, pulling right in, and then not just relaxing, but pushing out. Belly tightens, belly relaxes, back tightens. It's the same action as the breathing, but just localized in the lower dantian. Then just alternating the hands, the two sides. That will set up a turn side to side, effectively figure of eighting in the lower dantian. And then just let it calm down into our meditation posture. Just feel the hands pooling that liquid of the dantian. And the heart. So bring the hands up into prayer to start with. And up and out. Then turn one hand over and start turning the head and twisting the arms. The arms stem from the heart, but the head is always trying to claim them, hence tense shoulders and tense neck. So here we're working the arms, but trying to relax the shoulders down. So it really feels like they're coming from the heart. Then gradually bring the hands in. The figures of eights will expand as you do so, until we're doing the figure of eight exercise with the heart in the middle. Gradually reduce them. Just back into prayer. And turn into Ardhyana Mudra. And now a little bit of this thread that's suspending us from the ceiling. So just let one hand come out, expanding to the side and reaching up as high as it can so it can come down into the head. And then just like you're pulling a thread out of the head and stretching it upwards and sending it up. And then the other side. And one more. Good. And now let's rub the hands. The eyes. And sending the hands up, pointing the first two fingers of each hand and out, and then snaking and pulling the eyes to look at the hand that's coming in. So I'm looking right and then I'm looking left, trying to keep my head still. Both hands out, hands up again, and down. Let's rub the hands again. And bring them down over the sacroiliacs, trying to keep the shoulders relaxed. Let's rub the hands again, and we'll bring them up to the back of the head, so the equivalent places on the head. And bring the hands on the back of the head. And then rubbing the hands again. And then the hands, middle of the palms looking down your ears, and the fingers on the skull, thumbs on the back of those points we've just had the hands over. And very gently lifting the head up. It's almost just like an idea, but it will bring some straightening in the spine if you let it. So the sacrum is like this arrowhead that's pointing down, and we want to feel like there's the equivalent thing on the top of the spine coming into the skull, like an arrowhead that's pointing up. And then starting to tease the energy out of the ears to start with. And then just move it around. A few from the back where we had the hands, the back of the skull. Really want to feel those points as like exit points, the same the way that the sacroiliacs are exit points for energy, and the groin are entry points for the energy. The eyes are entry points for the energy. So really, and then just a little figure of eight in the head. So with the hand, the index finger points, and when we're reaching, it's the little finger that points. So when I'm reaching up, it's my little finger that's trying to extend. Now, the middle finger is the finger around which the hand rotates. And so when we're doing figures of eights, it's the middle finger that's leading on each hand. And the rest of the hand is just revolving around that. Let the bottom of these figures of eights really get into the jaw. You know, we keep a hell of a lot of tension in the jaw. I'm just trying to keep my shoulders relaxed. The center of these figures of eights is that point in the middle of the brain between your eyebrows and in. Have the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, sort of pushing up into that point as well. And then bring it down, little few figures of eights in the heart. The aim of all internal spiritual work is simply switching from head to heart. So the heart is various. So it's got this deep, compassionate, peaceful element, but it's also got this really spirited, feisty element. So heart can really stand up for itself. It's not a pushover. And the head was meant to be just a balancing instrument. It balances those two aspects of the heart. So we have turned it into a thinking instrument, which means that we've had to create copies of these two aspects of the heart inside the head. Just trying to get back to the body, back to the real body, the heart. And then bringing it down to the dantian again, little, they're like two little worms wriggling around these figures of eights, wriggling around each other. And then just bring it back to our meditation posture. Now just feel it for a minute. Just remember, the work is, we're not trying to create something, we're trying to reveal what's already there. So all of these things we work on, we're just trying to wake up things that have fallen asleep a long time ago. Feel the arms stemming from the heart. Feel the legs stemming from the dantian. And feel the eyes, particularly from the back of the head, stemming from this point in the brain. But it's not the eyes that see so much, it's the eyes that reach out and feel like tentacles. Okay, now let's just try a little bit of stretching of the legs. Because Tai Chi is all bent legs, it's really important to have some stretching where we have them really straight. Feel the joints. You've got the groins, you've got this strong muscle and tendon that tends to limit how much you can open the legs. And then the groin point, which draws the energy and is just above that, right in. And then you've got the sacroiliacs at the back. So it feels like the sacroiliac is the back of the joint and the groin is the front of the joint. It's not, they're two different joints, but they feel like they're the same thing. So the sacrum issues energy through the sacroiliacs, and then the groin sucks it back in. And that's the same on all of the points. So my shoulder blades open up and pull apart, and then these points just beneath the collarbones suck the energy in, and then the same here, and the eyes, or the inside of the eyes, what John used to call the inside peripheral vision. And then into the butterfly for a little bit. Let's feel the tension, especially here, and just smile into it. Soften it with your mind. And round for the fetus. So starting with straight legs out front. Into the kneeling. Sitting on the heels. And then into the fetus. So first reaching up and then slowly down. Separating the feet a little. Sitting down between them. And just giving it a few seconds, let the stretch settle in. And then into the fetus again. So from prayer, reaching up and slowly down. Then up. Start lying back. And just some cycling. pulling the knees up and out. And then we'll cycle again, but with the visualization. So just bring the feet up. Now imagine that someone is standing down there and they've got their hands on your feet and they're just leaning into you a little bit. So now you have to really work to push the leg out because someone is producing resistance. So I'm push, push, push. And bring the knees up again, pulling them out away from each other. And now a little bit more cycling, but now imagine the person is pulling your leg. So you really have to work to pull your foot in towards your groin. So just have that beat out. Okay, so just let them pull your foot and then, ooh, you really have to pull back. So the work phase is now pulling in. So this is our pulling with the legs. Ah, ah. And then pulling the knees up again. And then the left hand on the outside of the right knee and the right hand holding the left foot. So the right hand is pulling your left foot into your buttock and your right hand is pulling your left hand is pulling your right knee to the left. And then back, holding the two legs. And now the right hand on the left and the left hand on the right foot at the other side. Good. And then back up. And now up into the squat. start by bouncing. We're doing two things really. We're encouraging like a springiness in the legs, but also settling into them. Sense that each time I bounce, I'm getting lower and lower. And then just really open across the sacrum. And the springiness is from the front of the foot, and the settling down is into the heel. So we've somehow got to get those two parts of the foot activated as we do this exercise. And then alternating the arms. And then just a few reaching forwards. Want to feel it in the legs, really. So one leg is pulling, the other leg is straightening, bending and straightening. And just forget the arms and let it become the turning side to side. Again, it's this action of the legs and the feet on the ground that's causing the turn. I'm pulling with this leg, straightening this leg, pulling with this leg. Let's try it with the hands, just like this. So, like two metal detectors, you're really scanning the ground. And then knocking the gates of life. Remember, two hands make loose fists and come in and strike the Ming Men and the Dan Chen. I want to make sure that the turning comes from the action of the two legs. If I turn from here, then this tends to tighten up, and then I become something that's just settling on top of my legs. I want my legs to always be pulling me down, so they have to operate sort of independently, and then this can spread open. And this is the Taoist mind keeping things in balance all the time. As soon as it starts thinking, it forgets its balancing function. And you either have to completely stiffen and become rigid, or you'll just lose your balance. And then the second warm up exercise. Now, really settling back, but now really feeling the sinking down the leg. And then back to the front and riding the horse. Sort of flow down the spine. And then from the sacrum, reaching down each leg. And then coming onto the ball of the foot, so lifting the heel of each foot. And we feel the strength in the lower back and the tail trying to extend out and back. And this is the thymus, this is the spirited heart, the upper heart that's trying to leap out of your body. Then rocking back, one heel at a time, sinking down into this heel, sinking down into this heel. And now this is the deep heart, so you're really settling, sinking, and the sense that you have slipped back behind yourself. And now let's try this, the circly one. So using the turning of the torso to move the hands side to side and trying to use the legs to get down rather than inclining with the back too much. You should be able to keep your eyes on the screen the whole time. And then changing direction. And winding it down. Great. And now let's go down, elbows on the knees. Then hands on the ground if you can. You can always come off the heels if it makes it easier. And elbows back on the knees. And then hands on the knees. And up. Good. And now just moving from side to side with this bending the leg, with this real feeling of prowling. So I'm lifting the heel, and that starts the bending, and me moving very gingerly and slowly into the foot. I lift the heel, front of the foot becomes active and pulls me. And then once I get more than 50% in the leg, the heel drops. And once it's on the ground, I can feel that I'm pouring my weight down into the ground through the heel. It's quite a complicated action. And now let's bring it up. Just try some of this one. Let's try and get some action in the tail. So as I bring my left heel up, I'm sort of leaning over the foot because I want to put some weight into it so that I can stress the muscles that are being used. But at the same time, I'm trying to extend my tail down into the other heel. So there's a sense of sort of wiggling your bum. But here I'm pushing into the heel, but I'm actually coming into this foot. So again, it's quite complex. When I used to work with Nitsan, it was always a mystery to me how he could look so sunk when his legs were straight. And it's because he wasn't straightening his legs to lift his body. He was straightening his legs in order to inject into the ground. So I want this feeling that I can just squeeze my tail down the leg and through the heel. So the heel pushes through the leg, through the ground, into the ground, and the front of the foot pulls the ground up. So these two aspects of the root, one, me penetrating the ground, and the other, the ground coming up into at least as high as your denture. And this is a great exercise because you've got one aspect with one foot and the other aspect with the other foot. And then just get the figure of eight going around inside the foot. And that's basically the figure of eight. One part is lifting up and the other, the bottom of the figure of eight is reaching down. And then just let it become the slow jog. Now just relaxing, feeling it soft and fluid. Good. And riding horse again. Sinking. Let's try the circuit. Down the front of the torso, through these points in the groin, out of the sacroiliacs and down the backs of the legs, under the feet, up the front of the legs, back into these points in the groin, out of the sacroiliacs and up the back, over the head and down. The body's enclosed in a large vertical figure of eight. And then just into the two circle exercise. Again, it would effectively pulling with the leg, but lifting the heel and just staying in this leg long enough so that this front groin here can open up and draw the hand in. And then I move into the foot. So on this exercise, you really have to delay the movement of the weight until you've got the yield complete. So once my weight has got into the heel, it doesn't want to move out. So this foot really has to pull to start it tugging out. So I'm moving here, and then the heel goes down, and ooh, I just relax and flow down, filling the leg all the way from the ground. And then here, this really has to pull. So I lift the heel, the front of the foot pulls, effectively pulling the ground up into my down chin. And then it flows back down. Great. And then riding horse again. So let it settle and then just try and pluck up the courage to get down even further. And then onto the front of the foot. So the heels come up. My tail sort of extends back behind me. My eyes brighten and become fierce, and it feels like I'm wanting to leap out of my thymus. And then back into the heels. So the heel goes down, ooh, and I drain right down. This one, and I drain right down. And now this sense that I'm being sucked into the ground through my heels. It's difficult because you really have to go with it, and the legs don't want to. And then bring the feet up. And let's just try a bit of this one again. Now let's just try a bit against the wall. So we do this to really get the strength in the lower back. So I'm just leaning a little, and then I'm just pacing with my feet as though I'm trying to walk through the wall. My legs are pushing up through the body and into the wall, and my arms are pushing the wall in order to drive down my body and through my feet and into the ground. And the bit in the middle, which is your lower back, is the bit that ends up really working. And then round with the back on the wall. Again, just working the legs, so sort of rocking the sacrum on the wall. And then back up. And now let's just squat, spreading the sacrum. So what in my mind has to let go so that the sacroiliacs can get a sense of release? Just think of the Buddha's smile. That's the sort of smile that you bring into the joint that you want to soften and open. And then let's extend one of the legs out. And the other side. And the other side again. And the other side. Back into the squat. And up. And now just lifting the leg. So remember how we just loosen the joint here. And then just circling around the foot and lifting. And just let yourself lean over. So this is like our equivalent of the sumo leg stamping, where they get one foot right up in the air. And then this one goes down. Again, I just loosen the hip. And then I circle into the foot, pulling myself into the leg effectively. This one comes up and I just let myself lean and try and pull this knee upwards. And then the other one. So I'm circling the knee, and then as it goes down, It's like this energy comes out of the sacroiliac and down the leg. So even if I don't lean, there's a feeling that I'm leaning. Just feel the hips, especially this one, the one you're standing on. And then this one again. So circling the knee first. And then ooh, something comes out. The sacroiliac spirals down the leg. Once it hits the ground, then I can bring this knee up and I just let myself lean. And now just stepping to the side, effectively like the first posture of the form. So let's just do a little bit of this just to get into it. So whenever we do the form now here, we start with this. We just do a few rounds of this. And it's as I put this heel down, I sink down the leg, spiraling down the leg. And then I can lift this foot and step out. And then just circling the hands. So this leg is straight, so the arm is straight, the leg bends, the arm bends, this leg straightens. And as the arm bends and comes in, I just bring the foot up. Yeah, so it's like the first posture, but with that step. And then again, as I put this heel down, I really spiral down the leg and sink into the ground, enables this one to come up, and then this one can really step out. And then I circle around that foot, reach out, circle around this foot, and as the hand comes in, instead of using it to pull me back into the leg, I bend the leg in order to pull it off the ground and step up. And then out here again. So spiral right into the ground, and then I step and round the foot, and up. And stepping this side, so round the foot, stepping out, reaching, pulling with the leg, and then here effectively pulling with the leg, but pulling the leg up instead of pulling my weight back into it. And now let's just do the first posture of the warm up plus this bit. So feel it like you lift the heel and imagine that the front of the foot is grabbing the ground and trying to pull it up. And of course, the ground won't move. So that sucks me down into the leg. I want to feel that I'm flowing down because I'm trying to pull something up. So I'm pulling the ground, and that's bringing me down into the ground. And then I step out here and now circling, but just not bringing the foot up, just bringing the toes around. So you've got most of the weight in the left leg now. Then just relax the wrists and arms come up straight, and then you drop the elbows so that the hands come in towards the shoulders. And then you just drop elbows and hands and sink down into this, predominantly into this left leg. And then the other side. So I'm pulling the ground to draw myself down. And then I step out. And then I circle around the foot. And I circle around this foot exactly the same, but use it to bring the toes in. And then relax the wrists. Imagine the puppet man pulling up your wrists. And imagine weights hanging off your elbows that pull the hands in towards the shoulders. And then let the hands drop. So pulling with the foot to pull the ground up. Imagine you're sort of pulling something up and packing it in your danchen. So I'm pulling the ground up. That's getting me down physically. And then I step. And again, I'm pulling the ground up into my danchen. And then here I'm pulling the ground up into my danchen, but it just brings the toes round. And then wrists up, elbows heavy, brings the hands towards the shoulders. And then they just drop. Then one more this side. I'm pulling the ground. That brings me down. Then I step and pulling the ground up. So I'm drawing something up into here. And then the same here. I'm sucking something up into my left danchen. And then I relax the wrists. Wrists are pulled up by threads. Heavy elbows brings the wrists in. And then everything just drops. Great. Okay, so let's finish. Let's just bring it to riding horse one last time. So just feel the sacroiliacs. So you feel the sacrum, this triangular bone. It's like the energy sort of flaring out of the sacrum and reaching down your legs. And then the same with the shoulder. Something is flaring across your shoulder blade, flaring across this shoulder blade and reaching right down the arms. And then the same here. So, and just feel the foot. Got the heel, and you've got the front of the foot, and you're just rocking between them all the time. This is action in the feet all the time if you're alive. And then bringing the feet up, not straightening the legs. So really carefully straighten them so you don't snap that elastic pull down through the body. You're staying with the energy, with the feeling. And just feel that sort of figure of eight. There's always something wanting to come alive. Okay, great.